Coming up next, spring break turns deadly for two Cleveland area students who drowned during a canoe trip.
And riot police are called out in Athens after thousands of students take to the streets. Next.
It's constant chaos. You don't get a second chance.
We asked some of the hottest women in news to try Degree.
Body heat activated.
As your body heat rises, Degree releases extra protection when you need it most.
It was there for me, second by second, right when I needed it.
Degree, your body heat turns it on.
Say you need a blue line, some copper pipe, something to clean the silver. Talk to the folks in the red vest. With quick service and timely advice, you'll be back to your projects in no time. For easy shopping, Ace is a place for the helpful hardware folks.
Easter Sunday, CBS presents a craft premiere movie.
This chapel's Our Lady of the Light.
It's beautiful.
He came in answer to a prayer.
You don't know who he is or where he came from.
I think you're a curious man.
He built a staircase to God.
My lack of faith that's cracking it apart.
And rebuilt a woman's faith.
What God chooses for us is not always what we might choose for ourselves.
Barbara Hershey in an unforgettable story that will lift your spirits.
It's a miracle.
The Staircase, CBS next Sunday.
From Mario Puzo, author of The Godfather and The Last Dawn.
Eye for an eye.
Comes the next generation of power.
At every age.
The Last Dawn 2, a world premiere event. CBS Sunday, May 3rd.
This week, Billy Crystal, Val Kilmer, Quentin Tarantino, Matt LeBlanc, and even more stars have a late show date with Dave. Now your local news.
Live from WOIO TV, Cleveland, this is CBS 19 News.
Good evening, everyone. What was supposed to be a relaxing weekend canoe trip turns into a deadly accident for a group of students from Bowling Green University.
One of the canoes overturned. Two young men drowned, both victims from Lake County. Paul Cox has more on the accident on the night meet.
They hadn't been in the water that long. The boat wasn't that far behind them. If they would have just gone back to the boat and hung on to the boat, they would have been all right. I wish they would have.
A neighbor could only stand by helplessly as two Bowling Green State University students drowned not far from her back door. David Karelko and David Erbacher were both part of a group of students visiting Lake Somerset in Hillsdale County west of Ann Arbor. Saturday afternoon, they decided to go canoeing in the frigid water of Lake Somerset. They were just 20 feet from shore when the canoe tipped over.
They didn't seem too panicked, and I wasn't too panicked, and they weren't that far from the shore, and yeah, I was trying to tell them, swim this way with the current, and they were trying to go that way. They were looking, I don't think they could hear me because of the wind.
The two struggled to reach shore, but first one, then the other sank in the murky water. Rescuers got there too late to save the young men. Even if they had, their effort would have been hampered by poor visibility in the water, at most 2 to 3 feet. It took them 10 hours to find the bodies. Karelko and Erbacher were both residents of Madison and Lake County. Their parents were too upset to talk with us. Bowling Green officials say the group of students was in Michigan on a private outing. The trip will be an enduring nightmare for their families. Paul Cox, CBS 19 News.
Authorities in Hillsdale County will have to run some tests before they can determine if alcohol was involved.
Police are holding a suspect in the death of a 21-year-old Akron man. Akron detectives say Thomas Edward Davenport was involved in a fight when he was stabbed to death early this afternoon. Lamont Scrugg, also of Akron, is in police custody tonight. He will appear in Akron Municipal Court tomorrow. The Summit County Medical Examiner has scheduled an autopsy on Davenport's body. Also in Akron, police are still looking for a killer tonight after a woman was found with her head cut off. Detectives say 43-year-old Lilia Smith was discovered decapitated in her apartment on Fern Street Friday afternoon. But so far, investigators have no suspects and tell us there were no apparent signs of any struggle. Neighbors are still shocked by the brutality of this crime.
Daylight savings time caused a riot last night in Athens, Ohio, when the bars in the college town started to close early. Police dressed in riot gear used tear gas along with rubber and wood bullets to break up a crowd of about 3,000 people gathered in the streets near Ohio University. Over 30 students arrested on charges ranging from assault on a police animal to drunk and disorderly conduct. 5 officers suffered minor injuries during the confrontation with those students.
No one was hurt, but an early morning fire in Middleburg Heights has caused more than $100,000 in damage. Firefighters were called to the Transamerica Mail building just after 1 this morning. Officials believe the blaze started in a supply aisle at the Direct Mail Company. The fire was quickly brought under control with the help of crews from Berea and Brook Park. The incident is still under investigation. Cleveland police are tonight looking for this man. He is described as a Hispanic male around 16 years old. They say he set a fire at the Cleveland trash processing plant this past week. The processing plant handled nearly 800 tons of garbage a day, and it will cost more than $2 million and take 2 years to rebuild the facility.
With 30 days remaining before the May primary, the race for the 11th congressional seat vacated by Louis Stokes is heating up. Reporter Betty Halliburton was on the campaign trail today and has this report.
It is not enough that we just talk the game.
Candidate Stephanie Tubbs Jones told a huge crowd at the National Forum for Black Public Administrators annual conference this morning that they must put their words into action by working for the people. During her campaign, Jones says she's reminded the voters about her 17 years as an elected official.
You know me, you know me, you know me. You know where I stand on the issues. You know I've been a great administrator and public official, and you know I'll stand up and speak out for you.
Nobody else who wants this job has anything to say except elect me because you know me.
Candidate Reverend Marvin McNichol spoke out about his 8-point platform at a rally at his church today. He says a congressman must not only have endurance and stamina.
It takes a really clear sense of your policies and your platform, what it is that you want to work on. It takes the conviction of your own constituents, that you are there working for their best interest.
11th District candidate Jeffrey Johnson has also been busy on the campaign trail despite an upcoming pretrial for mail fraud and extortion charges. He says the allegations are politically motivated.
After it's all said and done, it's going to be the voters of the 11th District who must decide who will represent them in Congress.
I like them all. It's going to be a difficult decision for me, and I know it's going to be for a lot of other people.
In Cleveland, Betty Halliburton, CBS 19 News.
By the way, there are also 3 Republicans vying for the 11th District congressional seat.
Riders who use the RTA bus on Cleveland's near west side will have more service options starting today. Several members of Cleveland City Council were on hand today as RTA kicked off its community circulator service on West 14th Street. Shuttle bus will take passengers from the Tremont neighborhood to the West Side Market and other points on the west side. Growth in the Tremont and Ohio City areas has brought about the need for this service.
In Washington, President and Mrs. Clinton attended Palm Sunday services this morning. This is the first time in several weeks the Clintons have attended their usual Sunday service. They returned Thursday from a trip to Africa and spent a number of previous weekends at Camp David. The president travels to Kansas City on Thursday for the first of several town meetings on Social Security reform. In North Carolina, a 12-year-old Charlotte girl is recovering from a horrible ordeal. Police say Lee Epperson was abducted from the parking lot at Memorial United Methodist Church about 11 this morning. Authorities and citizens staged a frantic search for the girl all afternoon. She was found just before 6 o'clock, about 45 miles north of Charlotte. Preliminary reports indicate that she was sexually assaulted. She's being treated at an area hospital. Police tonight are searching for the suspect.
Scary moments for a Saturday night crowd aboard a casino riverboat near St. Louis. The Admiral Casino boat drifted away after it was accidentally rammed by 3 barges on the Mississippi River. One witness says most of the passengers remained calm after the crew told them about the accident.
One of the crew members told us that a barge had hit it. What'd you do from there? Panic, because, you know, it looked like water was coming in, but the boat was turning around. It looked like water was coming in. It wasn't, but, you know, everybody thought Titanic.
Police and fire crews evacuated the 2,500 passengers. There were no serious injuries, but several people required medical treatment after complaining of chest pain. The extent of damage to the riverboat is still not known. In 1990, the singing duo Milli Vanilli disbanded in disgrace after people found out they were lip-syncing their songs. One of the 2 stars never recovered. And tonight, police in Germany say Rob Pilatus was found dead, apparently overdosing on alcohol and pills. Pilatus was a former model who joined partner Fabrice Morvan and became world famous as Milli Vanilli. Their Grammy Award was taken away after the lip-syncing scandal was uncovered. The 32-year-old Pilatus was reportedly in a drug withdrawal program when he died.
The death toll now stands at 63 after a mining accident yesterday in the Ukraine. That number is more than double the number of fatalities that were first reported. All 600 miners working during yesterday's methane gas explosion are now accounted for. 43 are hospitalized, 9 in critical condition. That blast occurred about 3,000 feet underground. Officials are calling this Ukraine's worst mining disaster since the region separated from the former Soviet Union.
The Church of England has had female priests for a few years now, but reportedly things are going all that well for some of them. They are not going very well. A survey of 6 Anglican jurisdictions has found that women priests are being bullied by their male counterparts. The situations reported range from the lady priest getting the cold shoulder to being the targets of verbal abuse. Some of the reports say churchgoers and the wives of male priests are joining in the abuse. The church is tonight telling everyone to knock it off and saying further abuse will not be tolerated.
Holy Week began all over the world today, and at the Vatican, Pope John Paul celebrated Palm Sunday with an open-air mass. Thousands of Catholics gathered in Vatican City to listen to the words of inspiration from the Catholic religious leader. Palm Sunday is the first day of Holy Week leading to Good Friday and Easter Sunday. Meanwhile, nearly 1,500 fans fled this stadium in central Italy after an earthquake hit during a soccer game. 2 people received minor injuries. The quake registered about 4.5 on the Richter scale, making it weaker than last Friday's 5.0 quake that jolted the region and damaged more than 300 homes.
Would you get on a boat called the Titanic? Pretty soon you may get the chance. A newspaper in Basel, Switzerland is reporting that 2 companies, one Swiss, one American, are joining forces to build a duplicate of the doomed cruise liner, whose only voyage is the subject of that huge movie that's playing just about everywhere. The paper says plans are so far along that a launch is planned in England just about 3 years from now. And speaking of Titanic, look at which film has ended its 15-week reign at the box office. That's right. The film version of Lost in Space has proven to be the iceberg that finally got the big ship to take a plunge. Lost in Space is doing pretty well. It made more than $20 million over the weekend, as opposed to Titanic's $11 million plus.
And of course, the star of the movie is a robot. Speaking of robots, move over Michael Jordan. The basketball stars of the future will be robots, apparently. It's already happening at Disney's Epcot Center. Robots built by students from 160 high schools across the country hit the court yesterday in Central Florida. Disney supplied the materials and engineering support, but the students designed and built all the players. No word yet on whether any of the robots have lined up a deal with Nike or Reebok, but it's only a matter of time.
Right, you see them dribbling down the court.
There's some big Nikes on those.
Little 3-pointer, 2-point action.
Big 3-pointer. It's one of the most dangerous killers.
But could we be a step closer to closing in on breast cancer? Up next on the Health Beat, new use for an old drug could end up saving many lives.
And if you've had it up to here with Barney, Madonna feels your pain. Coming up, her true blue hate for the purple dinosaur.
It's out there waiting. And in all our years of experience, we've learned one thing. You're not the only one who depends on good brakes. With upfront pricing at Midas, we first perform a 45-point inspection to find what repairs are needed and what can wait, so you only pay what we quote you. Come into Midas today, because you never know what you might run into next.
For CBS 19 Online, the address is WOIO.com. Welcome home.
For some people, shopping is something they want to do. For most, it's something they have to do. Finest knows you never have enough time or money. That's why Walter's checking your produce, people are baking your bread, meat guys are trimming the fat, and everybody's trimming prices. Heck, we'll even make dinner for you. What, you don't like sushi? Try the lasagna. The point is to spend less time at the store and more time at home relaxing. Finest, you never stop, we never stop.
In today's financial landscape, you need a behemoth, a giant, to forge a complex retirement plan. A plan of immense proportions. A really big plan.
No, you don't. You just need a pencil and Key's retirement reality check. Just fill it out and see where you stand. Call 1-800-KEY-2U and end the confusion.
See the light of financial wisdom.
Oh, please. Key. Help at every turn.
You could say I have an addiction to flowers.
We love to garden. The thing is, there's always something you need.
It can be expensive, but that's why we're here.
I have over 36 petunias in one bed alone.
People know they can afford to shop here.
I think we're going to do some begonias here pretty soon.